Now, we rely on our own contributors and also our marvelous listeners to find out who's out there because, we can't do it on our own. And there's so much talent, not only in the UK, but around the globe. So when our very own Jude Simpson from the Big Fat Quiz of the Week texted me and she says, do you know, I've got this mate called Paul, and I think he'd be suited because he's got a very dry sense of humour, a bit like yours, Gareth. So good morning, Paul. A dry sense of humour, apparently.
Well, I do my best. Yeah, oh, it's lovely to hear from Jude. She's a good friend of mine. So yeah, it's great to be joining you this morning. Yeah.
And for those who can't see it at the moment, you'll be able to later on, by the way, when it goes on our socials. But Paul is currently in his studio. To his left and to our right, we've got a keyboard there, and you can usually tell the quality of a musician by the microphone that they've got. Now, I'm quite a microphone anorak here, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know what that is.
I think it's called an Aston Spirit.
Ah, the
It's got
Aston Spirit.
quite a nice mic if you've got listeners who are into that sort of thing. I know I've got a very nice Van Damme XLR cable just here as well.
That
Yeah.
Wow. So we don't usually move on to the type of cabling as well that a microphone's got. Normally, here's the microphone, but a Van Damme cabling. So you should be coming across crystal clear. And so what I'll read out here is a bit of the blurb on your website because it says here that you are a seasoned live performer connecting with audiences across the UK and beyond. And it's a mixture of laughter, beautiful acoustic music, and thoughtful reflections. So, where do you start with that? Because usually beauty and reflection doesn't go well with comedy.
Well, I've always found when I was doing gigs, I started off writing songs when I was kind of 5.5 years old. So I've been writing songs for a little while now. But when I started doing gigs and started doing recording, I desperately wanted to be taken seriously and write these kind of serious, heartfelt, moving songs that would connect with people. And I have written some of those songs as well. But I found that I couldn't quite do the whole thing in a kind of serious um, dead straight kind of way because I always like to have a laugh. I laugh at myself and laugh at other people. And I found that I would end up doing this song in my set, which is about biscuits. And it's not kind of a song that has a clever hidden meaning or works on more than one level. It's just a song about my favourite biscuits. And we get the audience to cheer and whoop for their favourite biscuits. And then after we'd done that, everyone would be sort of super relaxed, unless that one time I tried it at the Gluten Free Diabetics Association, it didn't go so well. But people tend to relax after they've heard a biscuit song. I don't know about you, but I always relax after I've heard a biscuit song, and so that kind of helped the gigs to go better. And then the kind of live act has kind of evolved into this thing where one minute I'll be singing about sort of earthquakes and praying or faith or um, what it's like to be a small child, what it's like to be a dad, what it's like to be married, all that kind of stuff. And then the next minute I'll be singing about which one of the celebrations I hate the most. The chocolates, the celebrations. A lot of my songs are about faith, but a lot of them are about food as well. And so I kind of those must be the two things that figure highly in my life: faith and food.
I guess it's a combination that's been going for a long time because some of the classic music hall entertainers, they would start and they'd finish on a song. And almost, if you didn't do that, there was this audience expectation that there would be a song involved, which is why I suppose if you take the likes of Morecambe and Wise, you take even Bruce Forsyth to a point where they'd be able to do it all, wouldn't they? They'd be able to sort of sing, they'd be able to act, they'd be able to do comedy, but also the serious stuff as well.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go quite that far for myself. I can't dance in the same way as Bruce Forsyth or anything like that. But yeah, those guys were amazing, weren't they? They had everything. They had every sort of club in their bag or whatever for entertaining people and keeping the audience sort of hanging on their every word. And so it's amazing to do that. So I like to try and do that in my kind of live shows that I do. I like to have a bit of fun, and I like to make people think a little bit at the end, or make them kind of connect with an emotion or something.
Well, I suppose it's about time that we hear one of your songs then. So looking forward to this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Paul Bell, and you can find him on the socials. You can find him on Spotify. He's basically everywhere. If you search Paul Bell Music, and show him some support, show him some love, follow him on the socials, and tell us about this song that we're about to hear.
So this is one of my favourite songs to perform live. It's not one of the thought-provoking ones. It's a bit of a daft one, but it's the first song I've ever written in which I like to rap. And if you could see me now, you would think this may not be quite appropriate, Paul rapping, but I'm going to give it a go. I like to think of myself as sort of an older, less successful, less ginger version of Ed Sheeran doing this song. And it's a song about the way that I approach a buffet. We all love a buffet, don't we? And you come up to the table and you see what's there, and you've got to have a system, you've got to have a game plan, otherwise it's going to be chaos. So I wrote this, it's called Buffet Strategies, and it goes like this. Here we go. Here we are at the wedding, and I don't mean to be rude, but already my attention is turning to food. It's getting late, about 8:15, so excuse me if I'm starting to salivate. My hungry eyes can't help but check out every platter and bowl that's being brought out. My mouth's getting ready for something to chew, because we only got invited to the evening do. The dance floor fills with 8-year-olds. Fernando blasts out on the stereo, and now comes the end of all my waiting and hoping as I hear the DJ say the buffet is now open. I'm poised, ready to spring into action. Once the queue has subsided, to my satisfaction I approach without fear or trepidation, cause I know how to handle myself at a reception. Buffet strategies, buffet strategies. These are my buffet strategies. There's 37 verses. Walking up to the table, please don't disturb me. I'm assessing the feast that's been laid out before me. Whatever reactions run through my head, I agree politely. It's a lovely spread. You gotta beware the unsupervised children grabbing handfuls of what sits, then off they run. Someone's combined the frazzles with the quavers, but when it comes to crisps, you should never mix your flavours. Oh no. It's worse when they mix up the regular crisps. You never know what will be passing your lips. It's a voyage to the unknown, but never a fun one. Will it be salt and vinegar or cheese and onion wedges? Crisps, chicken nuggets, chips. A moment on the lips, a lifetime on the hips. But you can't deny there's no point getting ragey. It feels so good to eat something that's beigey. Buffet strategies, buffet strategies. These are my buffet strategies. My palms are sweaty, knees weak, plate is heavy. There's hummus on my tie, already so carb heavy. I'm nervous, but on the surface I look calm and ready. Give me something meaty, something green, something bready. Now I'm looking for something spicy to snaffle. Is that a bhaji? Or maybe a falafel? This is the arena that keeps me coming back, so I always load up on the Indian snacks. Oh yeah, I love those Indian snacks. How you handle dips and crudities is up for debate. Should you make your own dip reservoir on your plate, or pre-dip your carrots and pre-dip your celery? Just try a bit to make sure the hummus isn't fizzy. You gotta give these things a little thought. Treat the buffet like a mission or an Olympic sport. Sometimes we all need a little help, but sometimes you gotta help yourself. Let me hear you say, buffet strategies, buffet strategies. You gotta help yourself, y'all. Buffet strategies. We're all moving as fast as we are able. If only we could use both sides of the table. The atmosphere is still fairly cordial, but uh-oh, who's this having a dawdle? We're all quite patient, but seriously, sheesh, how long does it take to choose a slice of quiche? Could you get a move on? We're starting to get bored. Have you never spread clover on a baguette before? I know it's bad manners to consider overtaking, but can't you see how many people are waiting? There's a reason we don't want you to be slow. Gotta grab a decent pudding before they all go, oh! Buffet strategies, buffet strategies. There's only one slice of cheesecake left. Now I've gone and got myself a tasty coleslaw with a little tater salad. There's nothing I like more. Am I worried that they've run out of forks? No, not for a minute. I brought my own spork. Oh, not for me, the indignity of trying to eat couscous without cutlery. And when it comes to pudding, the spork is still your friend. Just flip it round and tuck into some trifle with a spoon and buffet strategies, buffet strategies. Just flip it round and tuck into some trifle with a spoon and Buffet strategies. Buffet strategies. Now seconds are good, but thirds you might regret it. If you're contemplating fourths, you should really forget it. Don't forget the hardest one of the lot. The most important strategy is knowing when to stop. Buffet strategies. Buffet strategies. The most important strategy is knowing when to stop. Ah, yeah. Buffet strategies. Buffet strategies. The most important strategy is knowing when to stop.
That was absolutely brilliant, Paul. Thank you so much for that. And do you know, it's a good song as well, because sometimes what tends to happen is that people have got quirky words and then they just think, oh, well, how can I put these over a song? But genuinely, it's an earworm in itself, that. What a great song.
Well, you'll find it coming back to you when you least expect it. You'll find it repeating on you, that one. Yeah. There you go.
And the most memorable line, we've all been there, fizzy hummus. There's nothing quite worse, is there?
Yeah, if it's been sat out for a little while, you've got to be careful. We're laughing and we're learning together this morning, I think.
Paul, that was absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. So tell us, I mean, it must have been difficult, and I hate going back to lockdown and saying that, it was a difficult time, but for you as a performer, that's your, no pun intended after that song, but that's your bread and butter.
Yeah, so I found that whole experience. First of all, for a couple of weeks, it was quite nice, sort of taking the pressure off, being off the road, because after a while being on the road and eating, there's only so many motorway service areas you can visit before it stops getting as exciting. But then you're right, it did kind of miss that sort of connection with people, being in the same room, having a laugh together, having some fun together, playing music. Out in front of people, and so it was a strange time. I did some stuff, kind of little online gigs from my home studio here in the kind of the shed at the bottom of the garden. So on my Facebook page there was a thing called Songs from the Bottom of My Garden. I think they're still there if you want to go and dig them out. But we kind of did a couple of songs one night a week, and some of my friends did that as well. And it was a nice way to connect with people, but it wasn't quite the same because you can't see them, so you just have to assume that they're there, and it's very strange.
Do you know, a lot of love coming in here? One here, one message, and be sure to put your name on it because otherwise we don't know who you are. But this message here says, buffet strategies, words of wisdom there, if ever I heard them. And we've also got a message here that says, this is great. This song really speaks to the heart of the human condition. And Helen sent a message as well. You may have made a rod for your own back here, Paul, because Helen says, hi, it's Helen here. He's brilliant. Can we have him on as a regular feature? Well, we will talk about that off air. I mean, we are more than willing to have that. But of course, whether or not he can spare regular time, I don't know. We'll talk about that later.
I have to talk to my wife about doing the school run every week, every morning.
Yes. But I've just realised the time, and we could talk to you for ages. In fact, basically, if it was up to me, we would just drop all of it and we'd have you on for about half an hour playing your latest releases. But just to say, actually, we'll have one more song from Paul, but search him on the socials, Paul Bell Music. Give him a follow, give him a like, and also show him your support by maybe looking at when his tour dates are and also going to Spotify and streaming his music as well, because it's brilliant. And like this radio station, it's family friendly. You know that when you go to one of his gigs and you stream his music, you know that the kids can enjoy. In fact, buffet strategy, that's one for the car when I pick up the kids later on, I think. So the next one that you've got for us, Paul, tell us about this.
Well, this is one of my favourite songs to sing. I wrote this when my kids were 4 and 2 years old. And I called the song Four because more things rhymed with four than two. But it was kind of about my experience of becoming a dad, and I just found that that sort of that moment where you see the world through your kids' eyes and you see it with the kind of wonder that they experience the world through. And we sometimes can get a bit cynical or a bit jaded as we get a bit older. And this song's a few years old now. My kids are about sort of 13 and 15, so it's getting on for 10 years old, but it's still one of my favourite songs to sing, and it's called Four. So here we go. Oh, I wish that I was 4. I'd get to dress up more. I'd spend more time outdoors. I wouldn't have to pay the bills, and I'd get Calpol when I'm ill. I wish that I was 4. Oh, I wish that I was 4. I'd be more self-assured. It would be cute when I snored. We'd be princesses and kings, and you could push me on the swings. Well, I wish that I was 4. We'd play games, you'd let me win. I'd have ketchup with everything. Oh, I wish that I was 4. I'd see no rich, no poor, sit cross-legged on the floor. Silly things would make me laugh. Instead of showers, I'd have baths. I wish that I was 4. Oh, I wish that I was 4. I'd get out of all the chores. I'd be ignorant of wars. But I have long grown past the size when I could have a shoulder ride. So I wish that I was 4. Runny nose, I'd use my sleeve. You'd say it's true, and I'd believe you. You'd explain, I'd understand. I'd get scared, you'd hold my hand. Oh, I wish that I was 4. I might be less mature, but I'd know that I am yours. So I'll drink from a plastic cup, and I'll not hurry to grow up. I wish that I was 4. Oh, I wish that I was 4. It would be simpler, I'm sure. Oh, for cynicism's cure. We'd be quickly reconciled, and I could trust just like a child. Oh, I wish that I was 4. I wish that I was 4.
Wow. And that song there actually sums up exactly what your description means that we read, where it's beautiful acoustic music and it's thoughtful, but an edge of comedy as well. And to be honest with you, I didn't know how to react to that because part of me was thinking back to my own childhood, and my son is 4. And I was going, oh, yeah, they do have ketchup with everything. And then you start thinking almost a bit meaningful. And then the comedy line comes in, and you don't know whether to sort of laugh or cry on those, Paul. It was an emotional roller coaster.
I know, yeah. Tell me about it. You have to be prepared. You need your tissues and your chuckling muscles prepared in equal measure.
But Paul, thank you so much for joining us. And just to say that, he was playing live then. There was no production crew behind him. It is Paul in his office, live, just him on his own and his special XLR cable going into his microphone there. And what a talent you've got. And thank you so much, Paul, for blessing us with those songs.
Oh, thank you very much. It's not often I sing at 8:30 in the morning, so you're very lucky.
So what I want you to do is to have a look on his website. It is paulbellmusic.com, paulbellmusic.com. And from there, you can find him on the socials. You can order his CDs. He's on Apple Music, Spotify. He's on all the socials. And show him some love, show him some support. And when we do eventually get Connect Fest up and going, you can perform there. If you'd like to, of course, Paul. Completely up to you.
Sounds ace. Sounds brilliant. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Great to be with you this morning.
Take care, Paul, and thank you very much again.
Cheers.